Hi guys, just checking. We've got Elvis in the background. Yep, bit too much table, but I think we're okay. And we go slightly higher. Okay, that seems fine to me. So good morning to you, defending Elvis Presley fans want the truth, Team Elvis. I'll just quickly check your messages. Do you know what? I haven't had any chance to do any prep work for this live stream, but I've got an idea what I want to do. A few things. Just so you know, it's Halloween, isn't it? So we're all out tonight trick-or-treating. My brother's family are going to come and trick-or-treat with us. Now, it's a very exciting night for my kids. They love it. They dress up, makeup, get their little buckets, and we just go around the local area, and I love it. I always enjoy Halloween night, and we do a spaghetti, we do a chili con carne. Now, my wife is out today until about 3, so what I thought I would do is do a live stream now. We've just been for a drive in the camper van, my 1967 camper van. We've just been for a drive in that. So I've come home, I've said, right, they can go on the phones for an hour. I'm going to do a live stream with you guys. Then we're going to go off, walk the dogs, because it's really sunny in the UK. In the UK today, it's beautiful blue skies. It's chilly, but it's beautiful, yeah? So we're going to walk the dogs. I've told them they can buy a toy. Now, Linda Cudden, she's not on here yet, sent a little bit of money for the kids. So I've told them that they can use that money to buy a little toy. So Linda Cudden, you're buying my kids a little toy. So thank you very much. That's so kind of you. I don't think Linda's on here yet. Let's have a look. Let me just check through the messages. Anyone that sends a couple of quid for, it's just kind, isn't it? Tina, just turn that. It's just nice of you. You buy me a coffee. You send a couple of quid for the kids. I just think it's cute. It meant a lot to Yasmin when I told her last night. She was cheering. Linda, she was cheering. Now, of course, I buy them stuff using my own money. But I don't know. There's something cute about you guys getting something for Yasmin and Tina. I found it very cute. Anyway, she loved it. Yeah, Linda, you are here. Right, I'm just checking through the messages. So, Linda, we are specially today going to the toy shop, and it's a treat from Linda. Thank you, Linda. And also, a couple of you guys bought me a coffee. So, I'm going to get a really nice coffee today from you guys. So, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Just David, Elizabeth, people like that have been so, and Michelle, just all been really kind to me. So I do appreciate it. I don't take it for granted. So do you remember last night's live stream? It was pretty serious. We showed the video showing, the day Vernon died. I was surprised that Vernon was only 63 when he died. That really surprised me. So even Michelle might be shocked at the fact. Michelle, are you there? Even Michelle, turn that down, please, Tina. Even Michelle, I think the fact that the will was altered literally the day before Vernon died, and we've all seen that picture of Lisa Marie, Priscilla, and Vernon, obviously in a hospital bed. I'm not saying that was his deathbed. I don't know. But it's very worrying. Aren't we worried about what went on when Vernon signed that last will and testament the day before he died? Aren't we worried about that, guys? It's like, I went to sleep last night after watching that video for the first time. And I must admit, guys, it's scary, isn't it? They talk about how frail he was, how his signature was weak. obviously very, very unwell, couldn't breathe properly, very serious heart complications, problems. Of course, we're worried about anything that bad that may have happened that led up to the signing of the will. So I didn't know that the will was altered the day before he died. Did anyone here know that? So, guys, I was thinking about it last night, and I was thinking, I was thinking, you know, we have to cut, we can't just do one live stream on that topic. We can't just do, obviously, it shows the funeral footage. It showed Lisa was there, Priscilla was there, and many others. So we have to do more about it. We have to look into it a lot more. Yeah. So let's just check your messages. Okay, that was a really good video compilation on Vernon. Yeah. I stumbled on it, didn't I? By mistake, really. But I was surprised how few people have seen that footage of Vernon's funeral. The people that attended, you know, what went on leading up to his death. Obviously, you had the will and testament. Then we were finding out a lot about Sandy Miller, his nurse, his girlfriend he was engaged to, that he did want to marry, that he willed everything to Sandy Miller, all his possessions. I don't think that included property, because I think the properties belonged to the estate. Yeah, to the trust, to Lisa Marie. Yeah. So obviously he had this massive decision. Now, from what it seems to me, is there was 3 trustees. Is that right? It's all a bit of a minefield to me, to be honest with you guys. So yeah, no, I'm only, if I do dress up tonight as for Halloween, it's not going to be a jumpsuit. So hello. So Gio says, let's find out what Presley's involvement was with the altered will and testament. Well, was it altered, or was it? No, actually, no, it was altered, but it doesn't tell us what the alterations were. It worries me, guys. So I say to you guys, see what you can find out. Amy Collett, our researcher, let me know. Amy, if you ever watch this live stream, was Vernon's last will altered? In fact, while we're on here now, I'll message Amy. I'll message Amy. Let me just get Amy up, and I'll just say to her, was Vernon's last will altered? Was Vernon's, we know Amy Collett, she's our favorite researcher. Her name is Auntie Amy. We call her Amy Collett, Auntie Amy. Because I've never heard that before. Of course, we've all got a coffee. So get your coffees ready, guys. We're going to do about an hour, I think, and then we're going to go off.
No, we have 600 minutes.
Yeah, okay. Hour-ish, yeah. So I've asked Amy. She's probably asleep. Actually, we better tell Deborah. Okay. So let's right. So I do think we should have another little look at some of that video, but I also want to read out to you guys a bit of. So I found this. Yeah, let me just show you. So my son's asking me for money. Now I'm going to read out some of this. The real story of Elvis Presley, Vernon and Gladys talked about raising young Elvis. So I thought I'd do a bit of reading with you guys before we do the other stuff. Let me just send my son some money. So do you guys mind if I do a bit of reading about Gladys and Vernon? Okay, let me just send my son some money. Okay. I mean, I do find Gladys and Vernon very interesting. The life, you know, how they lived, where they came from, how they met, how poor they were, what their struggles were, because they must have. Vernon was around, obviously, World War II. What did Vernon do when World War II was announced? That interests me. Do any of you know? So, right, I'm just sending my son his little bit of money. My son is finishing his lifeguard course. Today's his last day, and he will be an official lifeguard. Yeah? So he's excited about that. He's been doing it for the whole week, so it's good. Today's his last day. All done. Right. So let's get this up now. This right up. So can be changed. Right, let's have a look. So Linda, hi Linda. Will and Linda, thank you for sending me a coffee. It's so kind of you. A will can be changed or created at any time, but there must be witnesses, cannot be relatives or beneficiaries to the will. A will can be created, changed or created at any time, but there must be witnesses, cannot be relatives or beneficiaries to the will. So that's interesting, isn't it? That's interesting. We don't know what the changes were. So Linda Cudden says she may have blackmailed Vernon about something. I've always thought that the deed of trust that was created to place the lien on Graceland, I've always, she was owed money. She was owed a lot of money because Elvis couldn't afford to pay her for the second divorce settlement. So I've always thought that she had a hold on him because of that, the money, the debt, and that Vernon, when he made his decision to make her, one of these co-trustees on behalf of Lisa Marie, etc., I've always thought that she used the debt, the lien on Graceland, as leverage to have the will altered. I've always thought that debt was hanging over Elvis and Vernon's head, and that debt was created by the second divorce settlement that she demanded. Remember, she wasn't even entitled to a second divorce settlement. She agreed in the first divorce she would not go back for more. She had to accuse Elvis of fraud, lying, hiding his assets, hiding his income. So a judge allowed for there to be a second divorce. Obviously, she used attorneys, lawyers, solicitors, whatever. I think it was very underhanded. She broke her promise. Don't forget, she even stopped using the Presley name, even though it was a verbal agreement. It still happened. So it's all very dodgy, guys. Let's just read this. When Elvis and Priscilla divorced, Priscilla shouldn't have been at the funeral. When the divorce, she's nothing to do with the Presley family. Her being with Mike Stone. Well, 100%. Hi, Luann. Hope you're well. 100%. The Mike Stone situation just sickens all of us because two families were broke up. Frances Stone was pregnant, Mike Stone's wife. They had a secret affair for a year, Mike Stone and Priscilla. It broke up Elvis and Priscilla, of course, which meant Lisa Marie was dragged away from her father, which just, of course, upsets all of us. Now, Luann says Priscilla shouldn't have been at the funeral. Is that Vernon's funeral? Because don't forget, we can't ignore it is, Lisa Marie's father, Elvis, or Lisa Marie's grandfather. So Priscilla's going to take her daughter to the funeral. So it's not straightforward, yeah? Let's have a look. I do think that I'm very interested to know who advised Priscilla to go for that second divorce settlement. Was it Scientology? Was it Robert Kardashian, one of her boyfriends? What was the thing that made her go, right, I'm going to go back to a judge, break my agreement in the first divorce settlement and go back. But this time she really went back for a massive amount of money, even wanting a percentage of his royalties, a much higher monthly spousal payment. It was severe, and Elvis was chronically unwell. This was going on in 1977. Elvis was sick, really sick, heavily medicated, in a lot of pain and discomfort. And you've got the tell-all book, Elvis, What Happened? That was all going on as well. So, but Priscilla is ignoring how sick he was, how much pain he was in, how he looked. Yeah, it was obvious that he was unwell. Ignoring the fact that the Memphis Mafia, his so-called friends, had betrayed him, and she was still demanding this massive amount of money for this second divorce settlement to the day he died. I would say that the last phone calls that Priscilla and Elvis had were not very nice, pretty nasty, a lot of arguing. I know that when Priscilla is questioned about the last time that she spoke to Elvis, which I think was 2 nights before he died, she tries to make it all sound really pretty and beautiful. Oh yes, you know, we spoke about Lisa Marie and her staying for the summer at Gracelands. She makes it sound like it was a lovely phone call, guys. It wasn't. In my opinion, that last phone call that Priscilla had with Elvis was lots of arguing about money, the divorce settlement, and when Elvis could have Lisa Marie next. If anything, she was demanding that Lisa Marie come home because school was going to start at some point. So do any of you here think that the last phone call that Priscilla had with Elvis was a nice, friendly, sweet conversation? I don't think so. I think if we were a fly on the wall, that last conversation was probably pretty horrible. But Priscilla will say, oh, he's the love of my life. I still love him. You know, she will act like his widow, she will act as if they were still married when he died. And we know that they'd been divorced for 4 years when he died. She will make it all sound very beautiful and pretty, and she will paint a picture of a fairy tale marriage between Elvis and Priscilla, when we know she had treated him brutally and very cruelly, running off with Mike Stone after already being unfaithful to him with Steve Peck, the dance instructor, weeks after Lisa Marie was born. So it's a mess, guys. Could you imagine what Elvis was going through in 1977? It's a mess. So all of it is just so worrying, all of it, isn't it? Yeah. Hi, Yvette. Where have you been hiding? I haven't seen you for a while, Yvette. Let me just try and read some of your comments. When Elvis and Priscilla divorced, Priscilla... All right, okay, right, I know where we are. I'm just catching up, yeah? The witnesses cannot be beneficiaries. That's Linda. SK, that's ideal, Linda, but lawyers bend the rules like my grandma, who had my uncle's wife, write it for her and make her main beneficiary, lawyer, a family friend. There's always a way to rig the wills. Yeah, I think you're right, SK. Well, you're called Elvis Police now, so yes, you can be our official policeman for Team Elvis, for defending Elvis. SK, that's your new role. You are our policeman. You can tell us the rights and wrongs. You can tell us the law. In the name of the law, we introduce SK from Elvis Police YouTube channel. So just in case you guys don't know, Elvis Police is SK's YouTube channel, and how can I say, SK, you tell us what you do on your YouTube channel. SK, go ahead, tell us what you do on your YouTube channel, rather than me try and say it. Let's have a look. So Linda, yes, SK, bad family friends, bad lawyers. My 2 sons, similar age to yours, daughters 32. They all know where to come, only the amount gets higher as they do. Hi, Sherry. All too common, SK says, especially when tens of millions of dollars are involved. Yep. So hi, Yvette. We haven't seen you for a bit. Let's have a look. Ours gets more because she's only one still at home. Yeah, I do. I have a 27-year-old son, guys, and his name's Andreas. He lives in Bristol. We're very close. We're very close. Right. Okay, she couldn't be nice. Let me just try and catch up with your comments, guys. So I don't know. Linda says, I don't believe the phone call was a nice one. Yeah, she probably demanding something and threatening with him. Yeah, guys, my gut feeling is that phone call. All right, mate. My gut feeling is that phone call was not very nice. Remember, we're walking the dog soon. Right, the sun's coming out. The sun's going to get me. Priscilla did not care how sick Elvis was, Teresa says. I agree. I agree. She just wanted the money, guys. Linda, my middle son, Liam, never asks. It's the eldest, to be honest. But our granddaughter belongs to Liam, so he gets plenty, though. Don't begrudge them, though. You can't take it with you. True. True. We got to be careful, mind. We can't just throw money at people. You know, we got bills to pay, haven't we? Mortgages, food. Food in England now is really expensive. The supermarkets, in fact, everything in England now is very expensive. We've just gone through a massive hike in inflation and mortgage interest rates. It's all shot right up. Everything is very, very expensive at the moment in England. Not a cheap place to live. Oh, Cherie, we've got perfect weather here. Blue skies. It's even slightly warm. No clouds. Right. Okay. Now I think I'm going to read about Vernon and Gladys. But I do want to just quickly, if I can find it, just show you a little clip of yesterday's video because I just think it was so important. Right, okay. So let me just go to, let's see if I can get that video up. Because I sort of found that video by accident. So here we go. I'm not going to play too much of it. I'm going to try and get to the bit where they're talking about the will. Let's have a look.
Soybeans and as we can to find out who will represent that aspect of Presley.
Let's get it.
The mood in
Those flowers in the bed. 20,000.
Here we go.
the mood inside the gates of Graceland was somber as friends and family members gathered for Presley.
Okay, guys, we'll play a bit of it, and then I'm going to read some of that, the life of Vernon and Gladys, and that should take us through enough to give us a good live stream. So welcome to Defending Elvis. Anyone watching, please join us. Please subscribe. Please like. Thank you for joining us with Team Elvis. We are defending Elvis Presley. We defend all of the bloodline. That includes Riley, Finley, and Harper. So I noticed that Finley posted on her Instagram yesterday asking people to follow her. Guys, yeah? Elvis's granddaughter, Finley, is asking people to follow her. Just in case you do want to, her Instagram is, it's Finley.Lockwood with 2 Ds. So if any of you guys want to follow her, I know she's quite young, so, you know, we're going to do it in a respectful way. But she was asking for people to follow her. She's a good Christian girl. She loves singing. She loves her grandfather. Right, here we go.
Times of Vernon Presley's death. Today, all was quiet. John Bennett, Channel 13, Eyewitness News.
The late Elvis Presley, Vernon Presley, has been laid to rest. He was buried today at Graceland. The mood inside the gates of Graceland was somber as friends and family members gathered for the funeral. Vernon Presley died Tuesday morning of heart failure at the age of 63. Sheriff's deputies were patrolled around the mansion to make sure there would be no interruptions. The service was held inside Graceland about 11 a.m. The only music was recorded religious songs, sung by Vernon's son Elvis. An hour later, the casket was moved outside. City Mayor Wyeth Chandler, County Mayor Bill Morris, Sheriff Gene Barksdale, and County Clerk Dick Hackett were among the pallbearers. The casket was placed in a hearse and driven to the Memorial Gardens next to the house. The path was lined with funeral wreaths and flowers. Following were Vernon's second wife, Dee, Elvis's former wife, Priscilla, and Vernon's only grandchild, Lisa Marie. Vernon was buried next to Elvis and his first wife, Gladys.
Vernon Presley was probated in Memphis today, and the bulk of his estate went to his fiancée. Control of his late son's large estate was transferred to Elvis's wife and an accountant and a local bank. Mike Lawhead has details.
All of the principals named as executors of the Presley estate were on hand to hear the probating of the will of Vernon Presley. The elder Presley named his fiancée, Mrs. Sandra Miller, as the executrix of his estate, while Elvis' former wife, Priscilla, was named co-executor and co-trustee of Elvis' $7.5 million estate, along with certified public accountant Joseph Hanks and the National Bank of Commerce. Vernon Presley made some changes in his will just this past Monday, the day before he died of heart failure at the age of 63. According to the will, Vernon's brother Vester and his sister Nash Pritchard will equally divide 1/5 of the estate, or $20,000, whichever is less, while the remainder of the estate will be divided equally among Elvis' daughter Lisa Marie, Vernon's mother Minnie Mae Presley, Vernon's sister Delta Mae Biggs, and Sandra Miller. Mrs. Miller will also receive all of Vernon Presley's personal effects, except for the furniture in his home. Vernon Presley's will places no restrictions on the possible future sale of the Graceland mansion, which the city has been negotiating to purchase for use as an Elvis Presley museum. The mansion's future now rests in the hands of Priscilla Presley, accountant Joseph Hanks, and the National Bank of Commerce, but Presley attorney Beecher Smith says there are no immediate plans for the sale of Graceland. Mike Lawhead, News Watch 3.
The last will and testament of Vernon Presley has been revealed. Here are details from Joan Draghi.
Vernon Presley left most of his estate to Sandra Miller. In his will, he calls her his, quote, dear friend, beloved fiancée, and contemplated wife, end of quote. Miller, Elvis's former wife, Priscilla Presley, Vernon Presley's lawyer, and others representing Presley appeared in probate court today. Miller was named executor of Vernon Presley's will. At the time of his death, Vernon Presley was executor of Elvis's estate, and that responsibility was also taken care of in the will.
Mr. Presley exercised that provision in his will, appointing the National Bank of Commerce, Mr. Hanks, the accountant, and Priscilla Presley to be the substitute or successor trustees and executors.
The exact worth of Vernon Presley's estate won't be known for a couple of months. Presley died at Baptist Hospital this past Tuesday. Joan Draghi, Channel 13 Eyewitness News.
Tonight, Graceland Mansion will remain closed to visitors for some time. The public will not be allowed to view the gravesite of Elvis Presley for 5 or 6 weeks. A bronze tablet is to be placed over the grave of Vernon Presley. Family members are composing an inscription for
the will of Vernon Presley was revealed in court today. He left the majority of his estate to fiancée Sandra Miller. Russell Ruffin reports.
Vernon Presley left most of his personal possessions, his cars, clothing, and jewelry, to Sandra Miller. Presley listed her as his beloved fiancée and contemplated wife. This will was prepared only one day before Vernon's death. His signature is very sketchy, which would indicate that Mr. Presley was very weak at the time.
Very worrying.
Vernon Presley left equal amounts of cash to his brother Vester and his sister, Nash Pritchard, in the amount of $20,000, or 1/5 of the balance of his cash estate, whichever is less. What's left after that goes in equal amounts to Elvis's daughter, Lisa Marie, Mrs. Miller, Vernon Presley's fiancée, Minnie Mae Presley, Vernon's mother, and Delta Mae Biggs, Vernon's other sister. Vester Presley had not heard anything about his brother's will until Action News supplied him with a certified copy this afternoon at Graceland. He's listed you giving you $20,000. Or 1/5 of what is left.
Oh, I see.
So what becomes of the Graceland mansion that Vernon had managed? The city of Memphis would still like to buy it one day, but it is still in the hands of executors and trustees because it is still owned by Elvis's daughter, Lisa Marie. But the will does give Elvis's ex-wife Priscilla a little more control over the mansion. She is one of 3 co-executors and co-trustees of this mansion, along with the local CPA and the National Bank of Commerce. In the next few months, Vernon's estate will be inventoried to determine its value and how it will be disposed of. At Graceland, Russell Ruffin, Action News 5.
Presley was laid to rest today in Meditation Garden at Graceland Mansion. The father of the late Elvis Presley was buried alongside the graves of his son and his first wife, Gladys. We have more on the funeral from Cindy Whipple.
It was shortly after 10 o'clock when cars began pulling up the long, winding driveway of the Graceland Mansion. Funeral wreaths decorated the front yard of the residence, and a hearse waited to carry the body of Vernon Presley to the estate's Meditation Garden. By 11, only security guards remained on the grounds. Family and friends of Mr. Presley had gathered in the mansion's music room where the services were held. Outside the 13-acre estate, several hundred mourners congregated. Some placed bouquets of flowers at the front gate. Following the services, Presley's body was placed in the hearse and driven slowly to the garden while members of the funeral party walked alongside it.
Very interesting footage, isn't it, guys? Really interesting. Lisa Marie and Priscilla are
The
there.
estimated 100 people in attendance was Elvis' 11-year-old daughter, Lisa Marie, her mother, Priscilla Presley, and Vester Presley, Vernon's brother. Others attending were Dee Presley, Vernon's second wife of 17 years, Elvis' former manager, Colonel Tom Parker, Memphis Mayor Wyatt Chandler, and Shelby County Mayor Bill Morris. It was the second time in nearly 2 years that death had entered the Graceland gates. In August 1977, Elvis died of heart failure at Baptist Hospital. The elder Presley died Tuesday at Baptist after a lengthy battle with heart problems. He was laid to rest shortly after noon in the estate's garden beside Elvis and his first wife, Gladys. Because of the funeral, Elvis souvenir shops across the street from Graceland were closed. Some shop owners had posted signs saying they'd reopen after the funeral. A large sign in front of the shopping center offered its sympathy to the Presley family, while fans standing at the gate peered anxiously into cars leaving Graceland after the burial. Some had come from as far away as West Germany, Norway, and Canada. Many came thinking they'd be able to tour the grounds. But because of Mr. Presley's death, the family has closed Graceland to the public for the next few weeks. Vester Presley reassured us they will reopen. The will of Vernon Presley, who after Elvis' death became the executor of the estate, will be probated Friday. National Bank of Commerce is expected to be appointed executor.
Really interesting.
Newswatch 3.
Really interesting.
Or 1/5 of what is left.
Oh, I see. I really didn't see all through it there, but according to it, they have left out one of my sisters, one Gladys, Doherty, something like that. She's been married to him a long time, but I never met her but once. So that's one thing. She should have been in there, I think, and she's very tore up about it.
So what becomes of the Graceland Mansion that Vernon had managed? The city of Memphis would still like to buy it one day, but it is still in the hands of executors and trustees because it is still owned by Elvis's daughter, Lisa Marie. But the will does give Elvis's ex-wife Priscilla a little more control over the mansion. She is one of 3 co-executors and co-trustees of this mansion, along with the local CPA and the National Bank of Commerce. In the next few months, Vernon's estate will be inventoried to determine its value and how it will be disposed of. At Graceland, Russell Ruffin, Action News 5.
Come on, guys, get the theme song. Single vine.
There will be peace in the land.
Come on, let's hear it.
Well, tired and so weary, but I must go along till the Lord comes and calls.
Love this.
Don't be weary.
Hi, Emily. Hi, Lorna.
There's a morning so bright, and a lamb is light, and a night that is bright, there's a sea. Oh, yes. There will be peace in the valley.
beautiful.
There will be peace and nobody. Oh, me. Oh, Lord, I pray. There'll be no sadness.
Love it. Right, guys. Well, I wanted to play a bit more of that. Now, just so you know, there is another 30 minutes at the beginning that I haven't played yet. I'm going to play it either later today or tomorrow. Yeah. I want to play all of it. I think it's too important. Yeah. It's still just lots of news clips, but I want to do it. I want to go through it. Now, come on, guys. We are seriously concerned about the circumstances of when Vernon passed, God rest his soul, what led up to his bad health, his heart conditions, but also the will and testament. Yeah. Why it was altered the day before he died. This is a massive concern for us. I want to make some more videos about it and post them. I'm going to do some defending Elvis videos and shorts. I'm going to make a few short clips from that video, and I'm going to let the world know about the fact this will was altered. Sandy Miller's involvement. Obviously, Vernon left everything to Sandy. I'm on about his possessions, his cars, things like that, his jewelry. And I just find it all very interesting, and I'm surprised that it isn't common knowledge. I'm surprised that it isn't common knowledge that Vernon's last will was altered the day before he died. It really surprises me. So we're going to delve into that a lot more. Yeah. Okay. Now I did promise yesterday that we were going to learn a bit more about Gladys and Vernon. So I found a website called, let me just find it. You all know it. Let's see if I can find it. Has it come up? Let's see if it works, guys. All right, let me just go to Google. I'll find it again. It's gone. Aha. So it's the Elvis Australia. Which is amazing. You guys are all going to know about it. Let's just start reading it. I just want to get a feel for Gladys and Vernon. Yeah. So you're going to have to put up with me reading for a bit. We've still got a while because the kids are happy at the moment. I've got a coffee. So you know that I can't read. I left school when I was 15. My reading is diabolical. I'm going to give it a go. Right, I will sit back because the sun, to try and stop the sun being in my face. Okay, right. So this is from Elvis Australia, the website, which is easy to find on Google. It's titled Elvis Interviews, Elvis Articles, Elvis News. Young Elvis Presley had become a phenomenon, and in the fall of 1956, the New York Daily Mirror decided it was time to give him a serious look. And so in early September, columnist Sidney Fields headed down to Memphis to gather material for a series of articles in the Mirror. He didn't get a chance to talk with Elvis, who was in Hollywood shooting Love Me Tender at the time, but Fields was able to get an extensive interview with Elvis's parents. Now, I'm reading this for the first time, guys, so we'll just see how it goes, yeah? Is that a new name? Greg, welcome to Team Elvis. Everyone welcome Greg. It's a new name, yeah? Oh, thanks for that information, Greg. Great information. Right, let's just keep going. Elvis was away filming Love Me Tender, but Fields was able to get an extensive interview with Elvis's parents, who invited him into the home, into the Presley home. That was interview with Gladys and Vernon was the basis for a 5-part expose entitled The Real Story of Elvis and Presley, which ran in the Daily Mirror on September the 23rd to the 27th in 1956. What follows is a brief summary of the series, the first 3 parts in which the Presleys revealed much about how they raised their son. Oh, this could be interesting. Sydney Fields has gone to Memphis hoping to discover what is Elvis Presley. Visiting his parents seemed like a logical first step in looking for answers. On first meeting Vernon and Gladys, Presley, he was impressed with their closeness and honesty. They do have a deep bond between them, he observed, which is nice to watch, and they express in a quiet kindness. He described Gladys as 39, plump, placid, pious, and Vernon is 40, a gentle graying of hair, handsome man, as tall as his son. Well, I think the age difference is wrong there, isn't it? Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that when they married, Vernon was 17, Gladys was 21. Didn't Vernon lie about his age so they could get married? Yeah. Let's keep going. Miss Presley showed Fields their son's room, the predominant feature of which was stuffed animals, teddy bears, pandas, elephants, monkey dogs, everywhere. I took him to carnivals when he was a kid, explained Vernon, and taught him how to pitch baseballs at wooden bottles to win stuffed animals. Isn't that interesting? So Vernon taught Elvis how to pitch baseballs so he could win more stuffed animals, teddy bears, at the carnivals. And Elvis loved them and had loads of them in his bedroom. He still does it. Last week, he won a toy dump truck. It's in the living room. See? So this, I'm guessing he was around 21, 22, whatever. And he's still going to the carnival, winning these stuffed animals. They sat down to talk in the living room, which Fields described as a mixed modern and traditional with a touch of gaudiness. Gladys pointed out that Elvis picked out everything with me to furnish the house, and he's always sending new things home. He sent so many lamps home, I had to store most of them away. It's interesting, guys. Young Elvis always kept in touch with his parents. Whether their son was in Hollywood or on the road, he always kept in touch with them, said Mrs. Presley. He phones us every other night, no matter where he is. How's my babies? He would ask. We've always been close, very close. Why, to this day, he gets frightened when his father dives into the pool for fear he won't come up. He was always that way with us. Gladys recalled another incident that demonstrated young Elvis' concern for his father. When Elvis was 5, his father and some other men were helping a neighbor put out a fire inside the house. Elvis screamed when he saw his father and other men run inside the house to save some of the family's belongings. He was afraid his father would never come out, said Gladys. I just told him, Daddy will be all right now. You stop that here. And he did. That's interesting, guys. So Vernon helped put out a fire, a burning house. Right. Field asked about their upbringing and how they shaped their goals for their only son. Gladys, one of 8 children, explained, we didn't get to go to school. Vernon didn't graduate either. We can only read and write enough to get by. That's why I always wanted my son to have an education. So that's interesting. They didn't really go to school, Gladys and Vernon. They could only just about read. That's interesting, guys. We were poor, Vernon added. When I was sick, my wife walked to work many times because she had no car fare. So basically, she couldn't afford a taxi. And many times, we hardly had any lunch money to give Elvis, but we did eat and had clothes and a roof over our heads. Maybe we got them all on credit, but we had them. We never had much until 3 years ago that Elvis never wanted for anything, even when we were troubled, and we were always taught him right from wrong as far as we knew, though we didn't have hardly any education. Well, guys, that clearly describes just how poor they were. They couldn't give him lunch money. They couldn't afford taxis. Says a lot. Says a lot, guys. Mrs. Presley was pleased with how they taught their son. He was raised well. She said, he never lies. He doesn't swear. I never hear him call anyone anything except Mr. or Sir. And we taught him if he can't help a man out of a ditch, the least he can do is say a prayer for him, and the Lord will never let him fail. I tell you what, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. We know that Elvis had a decent upbringing, a humble upbringing, a Christian upbringing, but this really describes it well. I'm going to say that bit again because I think it's quite important. He was raised well, she said. He never lies. He doesn't swear. I never heard him call anyone anything except Mr. or Sir or Ma'am, yeah? And we taught him if he can't help a man out of a ditch, then at the least he can do is say a prayer for him, and the Lord will never let him fail. Guys, love that. Love that. I love that. That is beautiful. I'm going to take a picture of that. That is beautiful. And we know Elvis was brought up good. His mother spanked the young Elvis when needed, and his father remembers hitting his son just once. He was 5. Gladys explained he took 2 empty Coke bowls from a neighbor's porch. He told me that the neighbor let him take them, but that wasn't stealing, and he had to be corrected. I got Vernon to take the switch to him, and I'll give him 1 or 2 licks. Vernon added with a wince, it hurt me more than it hurt him. That didn't surprise me. His parents recalled that when Elvis started at L.C. Humes High School at the age of 13, he didn't go in the first day because he was so scared. He was afraid that the other kids would laugh at him. He had desperate need to be liked. And when he isn't, he worries about it, said his father. So it does seem like Elvis wanted to be popular, The Presleys admitted they were always protective of their only son. No surprise, guys. No surprise. Right, let's have a look. As an example, Vernon explained how they tried to stop Elvis from playing football after he fell in love with the game at the age of 15. After school, the white boys would team up against the colored boys. He recalled that they'd come home with the clothes torn of their hides too. Elvis being all we had, we didn't want him to get hurt. He wouldn't stop. Gladys was working in the hospital then, and one day a boy brought in from a football game and he died of a blood clot. Wow. That scared both of us, and we made Elvis quit. Mrs. Presley added that, all right, let me just see what the kid wants. We know what he told me, and then I'll stop because I don't want to worry you. Right, while I'm sorting out Tino. All right, I'm coming. My God, I'm going to play you this.
Very kind of retired, quiet life with their daughter Lisa, who's 11 now. And when Elvis died, Priscilla kept out of the public eye. She's made a point of it, but now she's started a whole new career of her own, and she's going to be representing Wella Hair Care Products. It's a new advertising campaign, and she's here to talk with us about all that this morning. Good morning. It's nice meeting you.
Thank you. You told all my secrets.
They weren't secrets. So what's left? Why start a public career now? You've kept very quiet, out of the way and out of the limelight for so long.
I knew you'd ask that. First question.
All right.
It wasn't easy. It took about a year to make the decision.
And what were the things you had to consider as you were making the decision?
Losing my privacy was the biggest. I'm totally afraid of losing that, because I like to maintain my privacy, and I I live in this world that I'm really very happy with. I don't socialize a lot. I have very few friends who I enjoy being with. And I think I was afraid to lose that somewhat. But I rationalized, and this is something I'd like to do. I believe in this product. I've had terrible problems with my hair, and since I've used the product, I've got great hair again.
A living commercial is
right. Yeah.
exactly.
I was the worst. I mean, I had 2 perms in 1 year, lots of color, and well, it's really brought my hair back to life.
Let's go back to the privacy thing. Does it frighten you at all that now, I mean, obviously here you're on television, you do it by choice. You made this choice, but now there are going to be the cameramen. You have had them already this morning, the still photographers and the press, and they'll be wanting to talk to you and press you. Does that frighten you at all?
No, the reason is I don't feel, first of all, the job isn't that demanding. I won't be, it's not a 9-to-5 job. I work only so many days out of the year. I believe it's 1 commercial a year, and I don't see any, I would rather be in an ad looking nice than a lot of the papers they have me in already on the stands.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I don't see any difference that way. The photographers are always there no matter what. I try to avoid them as much as possible and avoid places where they hang out. I go, in fact, in Los Angeles, a lot of the restaurants that they hang out at, we usually go to very small, very unpublicized.
What about when you were married to Elvis, the excitement and the hubbub and the total public quality and whatever of that kind of life, and yet you stayed apart, you stayed private then. How did all of that affect you, do you think?
Gosh, I learned a lot from that, David. I mean, it was a real learning experience. I would never want to, be in that lifestyle again. I mean, it was demanding, and you realize how much the public does demand of you.
But you don't regret it.
No, I don't regret it in any way. I think it's a big part of my life. I could never regret it at all.
Tell me about Lisa. She's 11. How does she respond to all this? Have you discussed this with her? She must be a big girl by now.
She is. She has mixed emotions, I think. She likes the idea, but she's reassured that I'm not going to spend a lot of time away from her.
Right, sorry. Obviously, I just put that on so that because the kids are screaming. But there's a couple of points there. She says that she doesn't regret it, the lifestyle with Elvis. But the article that we read the other day, she says that she felt like she was in a gilded prison. She also says, just then, that she doesn't like the attention. She wants a private life, a private world. Well, that's so untrue, because the Priscilla Presley we know loves the spotlight, loves attention, loves doing personal appearances, autograph signing, the Comic-Con events, loves any kind of attention from the paparazzi. So she contradicts herself constantly contradicts herself. I'm not going to play the rest of that because I want to carry on doing the reading. But I just think the whole thing is a charade. The whole thing is how can I say it? We've got the answers to the questions at the time of the questioning, but then we've got the truth. Yeah, they're 2 different things. You've got how she answers questions, which is spur of the moment responses, which I think many of them are lies, in my opinion. But then you've got the actual truth, because I don't think she felt like a prisoner in Graceland at all. I think it's just her way of trying to convince the general public that she's a victim. Priscilla's general thing is, I am a victim, pull me, look what I went through. Oh my God, I was forced to live at Graceland. Elvis was horrible to me. That is her story. I don't fall for it, guys. I don't fall for it. Anyway, let's go back to what I was doing, because I was enjoying reading that. So I'm trying to stay back out of the sun. I've just made myself a cup of tea as well. So where are we? Right, here we go. So, of course, Elvis had discovered girls about that time too. In fact, the first time young Elvis could remember really being out of his mother's sight was when he started dating at the age of 16. He didn't have real dates till then, said his father, but he had girlfriends since he was 11. Once when he was 16, I saw him sitting real close to a little girl and I spoke to him. What about spoke to him about what he should know. So he's basically saying that he taught him about the birds and the bees, yeah? He listened, he always does, we've been lucky. All the girls he's known have been nice kids. Fields asked how they felt about the charges that Elvis' obscene on stage movements were debasing the morals of American youth. Those things hurt, admitted Mrs. Presley. So we know about this, don't we? Yeah. Elvis is this phenomenon, and then there's a backlash that he is a bad influence on the American youth. Yeah. He never sassed us. He never been uppity. Big people are still the same as little people to him, and he was considerate of both the same. So he treated all people the same, no matter how much money they had, how famous they were, how poor they were. We're country folk. He's a country boy and always will be. How can any boy brought up like mine be indecent or vulgar? How can any boy like mine be indecent or vulgar? He was a Christian man with decent morals, kind to his parents, close to his parents. One of the most common things that I hear said about Elvis is the love that he had between him and his mother. Yeah, it was really important. If you look at old interviews of fans in the 1970s after he died, and they say, "Oh, what did you like about Elvis?" One of the most common things they say is he loved his mum. He loved his mum. And isn't that a good sign? Isn't that a good sign of a good kid if he loves his mum properly, with respect, with good manners, with decency? Especially when he's so good to us and his friends, why he always wants to do what's right. I agree with that. Elvis always wanted to do what is right. He was always very good to his friends. I would say over and above. Over and above, to the very end, the way he treated the people around him, not just the Memphis Mafia, but friends, family, staff, his nurse, his doctor, his cook. I could go on and on, couldn't I, guys? No one has to talk me into realizing just how good Elvis was, how kind he was, what a lovely man he was. No one's got to convince me of that. It's just clear. But it's all being said here in black and white. Elvis' father denied any rumors that his son drinks or takes dope. Elvis wasn't interested in alcohol, and he wasn't interested in taking dope. He would have a couple of drinks, but that's it. He never touched a drop of liquor in his life, and he wouldn't know dope if he saw it. Elvis didn't like dope. Elvis was against street drugs. He was against pot and dope. We know how he felt about the 1970s sort of hippie movement. Elvis didn't like it. Elvis didn't like the hippie movement. He thought it was a bad effect on American youth. He's a sympathetic boy, a tender-hearted. Vernon continued. He definitely is tender-hearted. That's really a lovely couple of words that you put together to describe Elvis. He was tender-hearted. Tender-hearted. Let me just move this a bit nearer to me so I can see your comments, guys. I just find this fascinating, to be honest with you. You guys are chatting away, which is good. Let's have a look. So we've done an hour. We'll go a bit longer, guys. An hour has gone like that. And we're learning together. This is what I love, Team Elvis. We're learning together. It's great. Let's have a look where we are. Maybe this will tell you what he's like. He was an usher at the movie, so we know this, don't we? He worked in the cinema. And on his night off, he was downtown with his friends, and he sees this Salvation Army lady taking up Christmas collections, but the box was empty. Elvis put in his last $5 bill in it and started drumming up noise to get the box filled. It was filled. Wow, I love that. There's a great picture there. Look, guys. And I totally see Elvis like that. I see him like that. Yeah, look at him with his rolled up jeans. Is it jeans? The way he's quite scruffy, nothing fits him properly. And I see Elvis as a real happy kid. I've always thought Elvis had a very happy childhood, even though he struggled and was poor and lived in a small house and his parents struggled. I've always thought Elvis had a very happy childhood. Really, seriously, guys. And even me, I had a very poor upbringing. We didn't have nothing when I grew up. I really relate to that. I really relate. Yeah. So I love that picture. I love that picture. Does Elvis have any faults his parents can see? A bit of a temper. So the mum and dad say he's got a bit of, no, the mum says he's got a bit of a temper. To be plain with you, he's the easiest going guy you ever saw until he gets pushed or shoved. So yeah, Elvis had a temper, but only if he was pushed or shoved. Isn't that how many people are? Most people are pretty cool until they're pushed. Right, let's keep going. I'm loving this because I'm learning as I go. Then he gets mad and he's a little too high-tempered, but lots of people are. So come on, we know Elvis, if he was pushed, would lose his temper. We know that. The family always talk things out. We've always been able to calm him, to talk to him about everything said, Vernon, except maybe his dates. And then we could talk to him. If they were the wrong girls, he'd listen. He'll say something about a car he'd like to buy. I'll say, I wouldn't, son, and he'll listen. Even now, he obeys. Still again, he was very young here. Was he around 20? I would say. And the Presleys see nothing wrong with their son twitching and twisting on stage. Even when he was a tiny kid, he sang at church, at camp meetings. See, I didn't know that. He sang at camp meetings. That's interesting. Elvis moved around and acted out his songs. Well, I see that. I can imagine Elvis acting out his songs. Miss Presley said he's always had a lot of energy. He's big now and gets rid of it in his music. When he sings, he's being himself, and that's not bad or wrong. Vernon recalled more about young Elvis singing. At 9, he was picked to sing alone in church, and he said, at home we sang as a trio. So Elvis was picked to sing alone at church. He would sing at home with his mum and dad as a trio. This is just beautiful, isn't it? Isn't this beautiful? When Gladys wasn't playing the harmonica, see, I didn't know that. Gladys played the harmonica. Come on, guys, did anyone know that? Elvis always had a natural talent. He can't read a note even now. So Elvis didn't read music, okay? Now, it wouldn't surprise me if later in life he learned how to read music. But you don't have to teach a fish to swim. You don't have to teach a fish to swim. Right. All of that was just so interesting. All of it. So young Elvis, I can sing better than that. And Gladys remembered a time when she took her son to the fair in Tupelo. After listening to a guitarist sing a song, Elvis told his mother, I can sing better than that. According to Vernon, he just walked right up onto the platform, his legs shaking a little, and sang that song without any accompaniment. with a real powerful voice, added Gladys, and he did sing it better than the guitarist. That's really interesting. So she just said that he saw someone singing and just got up there and started singing. And he sang beautifully. While in high school, let's have a look. The Presleys recollect from early on, young Elvis dreamed of what he would do for his parents someday when he was hardly 4. His mother recalled, he'd tell me, "Don't worry, baby. When I'm grown up, I'll buy you a big home and 2 cars. One for you and one for Daddy and one for me." All his life, he'd say out loud what he was going to do for us, and he'd say it in front of other people. And you know, I believed him. Well, it all came true, didn't it? While in high school, Elvis took jobs in the afternoon to help his parents make ends meet. And even when he was in school, he'd go around and pay for the grocery bill, $25 to $30, said Mrs. Presley. We didn't ask him to, he'd just do it himself. Once Elvis got his father to buy him a lawnmower and used it to make himself $8 a week. See that? Elvis got his dad to buy him a lawnmower and then went out making money using it, $8 a week. But he stopped when the girls watched him, remembered Vernon. And when he got to 19 and started making money, Gladys said, he told us, "You've taken care of me for 19 years. Now it's my turn to take care of you." Even with the son about to turn 22, the Presleys expected their family ties would last forever. "This is Elvis's home," declared his father. "He never had no other home except with us." And even when he got married, she said, his mother, "As part of him always be here. A part of him will always be here." So she's saying even if he ever got married, a part of him will always be here. When Sidney Fields left Memphis and returned to the big city up north, he took with him a good feeling about Elvis Presley's parents. "I like these people," he wrote in one of his Daily Mirror articles a few weeks later. "They're simple, neighborly, unaffected by fame and fortune of their son." Brilliant, guys. And I tell you what, there are so many things to read here. So many things. Let me just... I don't know how well you can see that, but I want to go through some of these. There's loads of things here. There's we could do this for another day, but you've got a lot of other interviews. You got Vernon talking in 1972. I still want to go back into, right, we've got Elvis Presley's family history. That's the one I want to do. I want to understand how Vernon and Gladys lived before they even met, before they even got married. I'd like to, and there is a section here all about it. Really interesting, guys. I'm just going to click on that one a minute, on the Elvis's family history. Yeah, it gives all the names of the ancestors and relatives. I'm just going to store that onto my thing. I might do that next, because I'd like to go through that. Wouldn't you guys like to know about Elvis's ancestors, how Vernon met Gladys, what Vernon did as a job before he met Gladys, what Gladys did as a job before she met Vernon, even what Vernon and Gladys's parents did? Yeah? I think it'd be really interesting. Really, I mean, this goes back to the year 1696. And then it goes all the way through the centuries. Let's bring it more near up to date. So then we've got the early, let me just check this bit. So in the 1900s, We've got Jesse D. McDowell Presley, Walter G. Presley, Joseph Warren Presley, Minnie Elizabeth Presley, I'm guessing that's Minnie May, Noah E. Presley, Susan Izora Griffin, and Christine Mary Houston. We've got Calhoun Presley, L. Presley, we've got Mac Presley, and we've got Robbie Presley. Jesse D. McDowell Presley was born on April the 9th, 1896 in Mississippi. But they never got married. But then it says something here about marrying Minnie May. I'm not sure what this bit is. He married Minnie May Hood on July the 20th, 1913. She was born on June the 17th, 1888, and died May the 8th, 1980. It's just interesting, guys. We're going to go through this another time. Okay. Right, guys. Louis, I'll never tire of listening to anything else. I just find it so interesting. Just, come on. I know we're a Defending Elvis channel, but we're also, so I'm leaning back because of that sun. But we're also an Elvis channel that we want to go through the history of Elvis and his relatives and his family. And we want to talk about Elvis before he became famous, when he was a boy. I just find it fascinating, all of it. We want to do mini documentaries of Elvis's life, every aspect of his life, not just the girlfriends of the Memphis Mafia and his career, his singing, his movies. We want to go into different things like his religion, his interest in spirituality, the army years, the jobs he had before he became famous, the friends he had before he became famous, the friends that he had in Tupelo. We want to look into when he moved from Tupelo to Memphis. We want to look at the different homes Elvis lived at in Tupelo, the different homes in Memphis. Yeah, so there's just so much. There's so much we can talk about. We literally have a bottomless pit of subjects. We'll never run out of things ever to talk about Elvis. Ever. There's just so much. I literally would have to be 1,000 years old to cover everything. So, guys, we're never going to run out of topics. So, I think that's it, guys. I'm going to go now. I'm going to take the kids. We're going to go and walk the dogs. Then we're going to go to McDonald's. I'm going to take them to get a toy with Linda's money. Linda, thank you so much for sending the money for the kids. Anyone that's bought me a coffee, I'm going to have it today. So if you like what I do, buy us a coffee, hit the subscribe button, become a member. It's only $1 a month. And thank you for anyone that sends me a super thank you or a thank you. It's so kind of you. Guys, we'll be back later. We'll be back. We're probably going to do one more live, hopefully. I'm not sure how it's all going to pan out. Obviously, we've got the Halloween. So there's a chance we might not do a live. We'll see. We'll see. Take care, guys. I hope you enjoyed the reading. I found that extremely interesting. I loved it. So Team Elvis, taking care of business. Thanks, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. Love to all of you, and we will be back. Take care, guys. All the best. Love to all of you.